on a healing level, that would be as a crystal healer, which is laying a person down on a massage table, fully clothed, placing crystals around the body and on the chakra points of the body. And the crystals sort of tally up with organs in the body. So there'd be specific crystals for the eyes, or specific crystals for stomach issues, specific crystals for kidney issues, or just mental and emotional issues. But that's something that I do not as much of at the moment, because I'm more interested in the mental wounds, emotional wounds of the past. As a child could be made to stand up in a classroom and feel embarrassed because they don't have the answers to a question. And so at that point, they're feeling very anxious, very nervous, and that nervous and anxiousness could then remain with them, even though the incident is long gone, completely forgotten about it. But in later years, perhaps in a meeting or where they've got to stand up in public and give a talk, all of a sudden these anxious, nervous feelings are coming up again, and they're wondering, well, why do I feel like that? And it's all due to the fact that they had that incident when they were a child, or maybe many incidences like that. And that's just a simple example. Much of my work involves hypnotherapy, and when a client comes for hypnotherapy, they would just be sitting down in the chair, and I would obviously talk to them about the issue that they've got, and then it would be getting that person into a very relaxed state. Some people think, oh my God, hypnotherapy, you know, I'm not going to be in control, am I going to lose a part of my mind? And hypnotherapy is just a very natural, normal thing. You know, we hypnotise ourselves just by perhaps listening to the TV when we're falling asleep. And at the same time, we're going into that relaxed place, but we're very aware of what's being said on the television. And that's very much the same as when you're in one of my sessions. You're hearing me speak to you, but you're drifting down and down and down into that nice, comfortable slumber type of feeling. And that's about the brain going down from alpha, beta, down to theta. And when we get into that relaxed place, that's when we can start to put implant suggestions into the mind to then release the issues that have been going round and round in the same pattern for many years. And so we put a new patterning in, and then the person's behaviour and feelings and thoughts can be reacting in a very different way. Hypnotherapy can be used to treat for just about anything and everything. But many people come because they feel anxious, they have a fear of flying, they want to give up smoking, fears and phobias. But often when a person comes and they say, well, I've got this fear, or I've got this feeling of anxiety or panic attacks, that's when I enjoy doing the work, as I mentioned before, about going back, because we start to dig deeper and deeper to find out where that originally came from. And the client might say, well, I know it's because when I was made to stand up in class and I had to do this and I had to do that. But in actual fact, it could be something completely different to that. It could be that the anxiety is from a father who used to leave on a regular basis to work abroad, so they always felt that they were being abandoned. Or so the conscious mind can have one agenda and the subconscious mind has another agenda. And so the person is believing that their issue is coming from that conscious space. But once we dig deeper, we find that the subconscious has got something else going on. And that's where the real root cause is coming from. The subconscious has a different agenda. The subconscious has stored everything that's ever happened to us and knows many things that we are not aware of consciously. Basically, we are being run by the subconscious, where our conscious is, I think, about 5% of us is conscious, and 95% of us is subconscious, and we're just not aware of that. Everybody can be hypnotised. There are some people who are easier to hypnotise than others, because they just might find it more easy to let go of control, because some people feel they don't want to not be controlled, or they feel that, you know, if they let go that, that there's going to be a problem. But some people are also very analytical in their minds. So, and that's the basis of it, really. If you've got a very analytical person, they're in their head. So you've got to get them out of the head and into that very relaxed place. And there are techniques that can be used to get that person into that relaxed place. The client would lay down on the massage table and again, fully clothed. I would also place some crystals around them, because some crystals help with past life recall. And what happens is, just like hypnotherapy, I would be getting them into a very relaxed place so that I'm talking to them for quite a long time, might be 20 minutes or so, to get them to that point. And then I get them into such a deep space that they can then go into a past life where they then start to recall and start to tell me what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and what's happening. And they may see it as pictures, like on a movie screen, that they can see themselves, you know, in a desert or as a soldier and what's happening to them. Or they might just get sensations and feelings that I feel very cold and shivery, and then I might ask them to expand on that, and then they might find that as they expand their awareness that they're feeling cold and shivery because they're inside a cell or a dungeon. And so it's then getting them to find out more and more and more about what's going on in the scenery and the circumstances that led up to them being in that place. And then if they die in tragic circumstances, it's then about healing those physical wounds, and again the mental and emotional wounds that they may have carried over into this life, into their current life. So, for example, if a person has a fear of water, it may well be that in their past life they fell down a well, and that's why they have this fear, because they have no idea why in this life they've got that fear. But once we take them back and they find out, well, they were a little girl and they fell into water or down a well, but they survived, but they've carried on with the fear in this life. So that is where past life regression as a therapy works really well, because we get to release the memories that are in the cells or in the DNA of the person's being. Basically, being a spiritual medium means that I am in the middle. I am the medium in the middle. What that means is that I can connect to spirit or to loved ones. So when a client comes in, I'm able to connect up, which is a frequency. It's a higher vibration, or like tapping in with an antenna into radio waves. And I get to hear what the loved one, the spirit, would like to say. As I hear that, I'm what's known as clairaudient. We have clairvoyant, but I'm clairaudient. So I'm able to hear what they're saying, And being in the middle, I can then relay that to the client word for word, exactly as the loved one has spoken it. Being a psychic is slightly different. A psychic is able to tell you about your life, about maybe, you know, if you've lost something, a piece of jewellery, or if you're moving home, or if you've been having some difficulties at work. But a psychic cannot connect to spirit. But a spiritual medium is automatically psychic, so can do both. Being a spiritual medium also means taking it to a different level where I'm able to connect to guides. We all have spirit guides. And so I'm able to hear the guide, sometimes tell you a little bit about that guide, what they might look like, and again, relay direct messages to you from your guide. And lots of people want to know their guide's name, but I always tell them it's really not that important. What's important is to just be able to know that your guide is with you and that they're helping you along your path. Speaking in public, panic attacks, anxiety, and as I mentioned before, you know, fear of flying and giving up smoking. But in all honesty, because of all the different things I do, I'm covering all angles. So I'm covering the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. So really there isn't any issue that I wouldn't be able to help a person with. It doesn't matter whether it's sexual or whether it's a fear of spiders and everything in between. It really doesn't matter, because using the tools I have, I can help people in any way and every way possible. Yes, absolutely. Hypnotherapy in conjunction with psychotherapy, I think, is a completely more rounded tool, because I think a lot of hypnotherapists just work on talking to people whilst they're in the hypnotic state, where I use a lot of psychotherapeutic angles to assist people through their mental and emotional issues. So I'm going a lot deeper. And I feel that with the hypnotherapy, you are going in quicker and faster than you would in a conventional psychotherapy session, because the client is talking around and around and around the situation consciously. But when you go in using the hypnotherapy, you're going into the subconscious mind. So therefore, you're coming in at a completely different angle. And with the psychotherapy, I think that it's a much stronger treatment. It's faster, and I think it's quite illuminating what comes up and makes a person a lot more aware of themselves. And ultimately, the goal is to get that person to a place of balance and harmony. I've been practicing now for around 18 years. I started with my own journey being having had a lot of hip operations and finding that I wasn't interested in conventional pill popping, so that led me into the alternatives, into healing. And I had always been interested in the esoteric, in tarot and crystals when I was young, although I do not use any tarot cards in my readings at all. I don't use anything. I just get the person to sit in front of me. I don't just ask their name, and then I receive information about them. But I went on to become more and more interested in holistic and alternative therapies. I trained as a crystal healer 18 years ago, and a past life regressionist and a hypnotherapist around 11 years ago, and I feel that I come from it from my own experiences and know how much it's worked for me. So I am always healthy, always have plenty of energy, I'm always positive, and feel that if I can do it, then anybody can do it, and I'm in a good position to help people to be in that place of positivity and health.